Can you check the participant?
I'm still watching for Teresa and don't see her yet. She should hopefully be coming.
I suggest take 5 minutes. So we can jokes.
You want to give her a call? You can see. She'll get massive text. Oh, it's a big boy. No.
Some of the border with the travel. This is how I like to see them.
That's the biggest one I want to see.
This one too, yeah.
Yes. It's that work session. or something. I think everybody's submitting the Excel sheets differently.
Oh, yeah.
I think we need to. Get on the same page, yeah.
We never really got any instruction. If I have to do it.
And when Tiffany office came in, I was talking about it. And he was using federal rates and I was using state rates. I wonder if we tried this.
Well, they had it in the sheet what you could. Good.
I didn't see that.
So that's what I've been following, but. Yeah, I probably shouldn't. It's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, I was in Tuesday and I was asking. You guys ever been to the farm? I think there's only 2 good places in there. Really? Have you ever been over to the popcorn place? The popcorn place here? Some good stuff. That's okay. I don't judge. I just, I feel sad for you that you're missing out on it.
You might want to show it off. I muted too.
And I love when they're in my classes. I learned so much from them. I teach a fisheries class and I always tell
Start with the roll call.
I can do roll call. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, perfect. Ken Pitt,
Here.
Roger Noble, Georgia Sneeze,
Here.
Teresa Wall McDonald,
Here.
Clayton Matt. It appears is gone. And then I apologize. I don't know the gentleman's name on the end next to Georgia.
Hi, I'm Craig Adams with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. I'm the acting superintendent.
Thank you. Christy, did you catch that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. We have the quorum. Anybody be willing to offer a opening prayer?
I'll do it. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we just want to thank you for this day and thank you for the blessings that you have bestowed within it. We ask for wisdom today as we move through our agenda, that we make decisions wisely and with due diligence. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
So for all attendees, our meeting minutes are available on the DNRC and CSK2 websites. Feel free to peruse those. Has the board had a chance to take a look at today's agenda?
I did. I make a motion that we accept the agenda as provided.
Motion by Robert,
My second.
second by Georgia. All in favor?
Aye.
Any public comments for any items not on the agenda? Anybody online?
If you would like to make a public comment online, just raise your hand and I can make it possible for you to speak. I don't see any online comments.
Moving on, board business. This board had a chance to review the minutes for the September 29th, September 8th, and October 13th minutes.
So I got September 9, September 29, but I didn't receive the October 13. No recently. Stuff out yesterday. So, I got it.
Oh.
So I'll make a motion to approve the September 9, 2022 board minutes as provided.
Second,
Second.
and second by Teresa, motion by Roger, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Sorry, Teresa.
You need a separate motion for
Yeah,
each set.
for each one.
I move, Mr. Chair, that we accept the September 8th, 2022 minutes.
We have a motion by Georgia,
Second.
second by Teresa, all in favor?
Aye.
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 What was the date that you said? September.
So the first was for the 29th.
Okay.
And then the last is October 13th.
All right. So I,
Thank you. October 13th.
make a motion to approve the October 13, 2022 minutes as provided.
Motion by Roger,
I'll second.
second by Georgia, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, yes.
Motion's carried. Legal updates. Haley Franson, welcome Haley.
Hi, thank you, members of the board. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. So just kind of running through a similar list to what we had on the October 13th minute with some updates. We provided the board with the advisement for the artist contract in relation to the logo. We just need board action on that as how to proceed. And also the open meetings memo was circulated with the board. And so we would need board action on the open meetings memo as well, if there's anything that needs revision or if it's accepted. The two other memos that we have in the works will be under review and should be ready for the board by next week, if not by the next meeting. And the other pieces that we are working on over this time, the HR policy review, the bylaws drafting, and potential policies and procedures discussions. I'm going to pass that over to John, who is also on the line, to propose a working session. So, John?
Hi, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Good. So early on, we had some discussion about the idea of having a working session with legal counsel and the board. Now that Ethan is on as the engineer, we were thinking this would probably be a good time to have a kind of a kickoff working session with the board. We have a lot of things in play that it would be good to have some board input on and some discussions rather than just trying to make presentations through this format. And so I guess we would like to suggest to the board that in the next few weeks, we schedule a time that we could come up and meet with the board and Ethan and have some discussions with respect to mostly the issues that Haley just outlined. I think that having some discussions with respect to the designation of what the board entity is, policies and procedures, the bylaws would be beneficial for both legal counsel and the board.
So are we suggesting we have this working session? This working session? Looks like next date is November 10th. Does that work for you, November 10th, John?
Let me look.
John, how long do you anticipate, how many hours do you want to have for that working session?
I would think we could probably, accomplish everything we need to in under 2. I think that would probably be the outside. And it looks like the 10th, works for me. Because Haley needs to chime in too.
So
The 10th is fine for me as well.
I guess what the thinking is we meet, our next scheduled board meeting is the 10th, and then maybe if we could meet prior to that, like at noon or something, if that would work for everybody.
I don't get out of class till 12:20.
Okay. Well, we could start at 12:30 or something.
Okay.
Start at 12:30 next on the 10th.
So that would be 12:30 then on November 10th.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion on that.
No.
No. Okay, let's schedule that. Now, as far as the board taking action on the 2 memos, unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to review either one. I'm sorry, my fault. So I'd ask that we put that off for weeks until the next meeting, and I promise you I will have read it by then.
Yeah.
And just to clarify too, we have only delivered 1 memo to the board. It's regarding open meetings and how that applies to the board as an entity. And then the other piece that we've delivered to the board is just regarding the artist contract for the logo that the board would like to have designed.
Teresa, are you okay with waiting 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Do we really need to take action on the release, or can we just proceed with presenting that to the logo designer?
I need some sort of confirmation from the board on how to proceed with the language of the contract itself before presenting it to the third-party outfitter.
Mr. Engineer?
Mr. Chair, board members. Haley, how are you? What I suggest this time is how about if you ship me the language? I'll work with the board members to take a look at it, and the board members can then make a decision, and I'll pass that decision along to you so that we can move forward that way.
That works for me.
Just a thought, that logo is important if we're going to get our website out there. So the sooner we can do that, the better.
We'll fast track that then.
Perfect. That's fine with me.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other comments? 3.3, domestic allowance applications. applications recommended for authorization. Christine, you're on.
Just a moment. The applications, there's 13 applications that we need authorization for. The applications are as follows. One, would you like me to read what they're wanting approval for? That's okay. Bukowski, Franklin, Gunther, Hess, Holly, Madman, Marty, Cursor, Cursor 2, Western Montana Land and Cattle LLC, Jordan Whitehair, and Kenneth Whitehair.
So it's not included on the agenda, but I think we should have any public comment on those applications.
If you would like to make public comments, oh, Ethan, go ahead.
Chairman, board members, in the past, when we have applications that meet all of the criteria, you receive a recommendation from these, in this case, they have a recommendation from both the tribe's interim acting technical staff and DNRC's interim acting technical staff. And as long as there's no confounding questions or complexities to the application that require me bringing things up to puzzle you, we've usually been able to just move forward without public comment.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the 13 applications as stated by Christie. Second,
I'll second.
Motion by Roger, second by Georgia. All in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Motion carried. Redundant wells. Mr. Engineer.
Chairman, board members, thank you for hearing me on this topic. Last, when we talked about a draft form for redundant wells, we went over the general notion of what a redundant well is, which is an additional well that would serve a public water supply that can be used in the case of the public water supply's main well being defunct or otherwise compromised. They would then not have to have a group of people large enough to call the public without water. They would be able to move over to a redundant well. So if you'll also remember, one of the interesting things about this particular form is it's one of the first ones, it's the first one that we've had that is written to the Office of the Engineer. And so this is a change from the interim forms that you've seen in the past that are directed towards the board. This particular application will be directed towards the Office of the Engineer. And the application review will all happen at the office level. When we talked about the form, we had a couple, 3 questions. One, was the form sufficient at directing things towards the Office of the Engineer in a way that allowed the board separation enough to become the appeal body should there be an issue with a decision made at the Office of the Engineer level. 2, we had a notary requirement that I was instructed to discuss with legal and see if we couldn't modify the state's approach for these types of applications. The state does require a notary. And oh, the third item, also we got some feedback from our legal counsel, was on the topic of what happens if an applicant, for whatever reason, has a good reason, makes a case to the Office of the Engineer that they were not timely in their notice filing with the office. Is there an option for the engineer to extend that filing deadline? The reason that this was a topic that I wanted to have pursued is because the ramifications of not filing this particular notice on time are fairly severe. It could cause an applicant to have to either abandon the redundant well that they had drilled or proceed with trying to do some sort of a change in use authorization through the normal change proceedings, which is quite a bit more cumbersome than this notice would impose on an applicant. So with the board's permission, I'll just go over, I'll recapitulate the legal counsel's ideas about these things. So one, it does seem that we've got enough distancing from the board to where you could become the appeal body and the Office of the Engineer could become the first line of decision-making. Two, the legal counsel offered some updated language in the affidavit section and said that if we were to incorporate that, we could remove the notary requirement. And so you'll see that there is a declaration under penalty and perjury that the statements are true. Generally put here, that was, I was informed that if that information was on here, that was adequate, and we could remove the notary requirement. Again, sound like a little bit of a broken record compared to last meeting, but I will remind folks that notaries are becoming less and less common. Apparently the state licensing is a little bit more cumbersome, so this will help applicants along, I believe. I did also take the liberty to find out if that notary arrangement could apply to all of our other water right forms so that we could pre-answer the issue in advance. That is in fact the case, no surprise there. And on the last item, the legal counsel did agree with my conclusion that if an applicant came in with a good case, a good cause, demonstrating some solid rationale of why they were filing this notice for redundant well late, that I could, as the water engineer, extend that deadline under the terms of the contract. Ordinance, more specifically, excuse me.
We're in the code, the code of ordinances.
That language, which I don't have right in front of me. Still my copy. Excuse me for a second.
Ethan, when you get a pause, Haley would like to have a comment as well.
This would be a good time because I'll look for that reference while Haley talks.
This comment could be saved for potentially after this. With regard to the form, we also recommended that the actual title for that last section should be entitled declaration rather than affidavit. So that update would need to be consistent amongst all the forms as well as that specific language amongst all the forms as well.
In addition to that, I think one other thing that should be put under that section is the title of the person that is signing it. So if it's the mayor, the public works director, so there's some indication that they have signature authority.
Excellent. Sorry, I haven't found the reference just yet, but just to double check that I'm taking good notes on our draft here. Number 5, the overall title should change to declaration from affidavit. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and we need to add a title under the authorized signature section. Okay.
And I'll offer a picky comment. You need a comma after possessory interest in both places on the second line.
Excellent, thank you. We do accept and encourage picky comments. Thank you. And additionally, if any board members or legal counsel see some other less significant changes we need to make, they're happy to make grammatical corrections there. Sorry, back to the timeline or the extension of timeline. I got shuffled a little bit looking about the quorum issue, so I apologize. I had this set to the right page. If anybody's got it,
Maybe read it, you can, after you're done, find it.
all right, we'll come back to that topic. Thank you.
So, anything else you need here?
I think with the pending two changes, what I'm asking is that the board take any public comment that might need to occur and then decide if you can approve this form. Thank you.
So is there any public comment on the redundant well form?
If you're on Zoom and would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand and I can make it possible for you to speak. Ken, I see no comments.
Okay. Do we have a motion on the redundant well form in process? As altered by today's.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the redundant well notice form with the suggested changes that we discussed.
Motion by Georgia,
Second,
second by Teresa. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. Thank you, board members. 3.5, Mr. Engineer, you're back on. The water conservation specialist.
Excellent, thank you. Mr. Chair, board members, this is to let you know where we're at on our progress for interviewing and hiring a water conservation specialist. I do intend to make an offer to one of the applicants, probably this week, if not after this meeting, and enter into a we'll write a letter that looks a little like the one that I received that we put through the HR program. If we get a verbal confirmation that the applicant's still interested. And this is a lovely update to make, and fingers crossed that it all goes well. With the board's permission, I'll just stand for the next topic or any questions if you have them about the water conservation specialist position.
There was some issues of discussion about your authority to hire people.
Yes.
Is that part of this discussion?
Well, where I believe everybody steered me was that the authorization to hire a water conservation specialist had already been set forward by the board. I just happened to pick this up in the middle, and the chairman certainly, along with board member Sneeze, seemed to feel that this was part of my regular job duties. If, however, you would like to take an action on this, please feel free to do so.
I don't know that we need to take an action. Roger, do you have any thoughts?
No, if
Teresa?
I think if they've determined it's part of his regular duties, that's well, all we need.
Teresa?
I agree.
If the board will allow a small clarification, for purposes of outreach and hiring another FTE or significant expense at the onset of that process, I would in fact seek the board's approval to set that into motion because it is a substantial expense to our budget and the obligations are significant. So at that point of starting a new outreach, that's when you'll see me looking for permission to hire another staff. And probably I'll offer you a position description that'll be in the outreach for your approval as well.
Is this something we do public comment on?
I don't think so. I think this is just generally some of the business that I like to put on the agenda is business that allows me to communicate with you while we're all here. I don't think there's any harm in sharing some of that information with the public.
Okay. Thanks.
If I could just say thank you to Pela and others who helped organize those interviews and the questions, and also applaud Ethan for doing an excellent job during that interview process. So it was very well done in my opinion.
Okay, on to 3.6, Office of the Engineer Operations.
Excellent. So the first item we have here is just a small domestic allowance application processing update. As of getting through today's applications, the board has in total authorized 203 Part A forms for domestic allowances. I thought the board would like to know that. Next item on our list here has to do with the Office of the Engineer business hours. We have been running Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 business hours, which has been pretty tough, especially when there was only one full-time staff member. We've got 2 now, but having had some time to see where our workload's at and the amount of walk-in traffic that we're getting, and realizing that a lot of the work that we have to do is really behind the scenes administration of a lot of the papers and things. And so what we would like to do is switch our office hours to Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5, and leaving Friday set aside for other office work not involving the direct public.
Board, any comments on that?
Excuse me, I have a comment that I think that proposed plan is reasonable. And I think it allows for adequate public interaction with a bit of planning. I don't know if we establish these hours in a long-term basis, but I would certainly be willing to move forward and maybe do a sample period of maybe 6 months or something like that. But I think it's reasonable.
I just had one question. So Ethan, do you plan on being in the office on Friday, but just not opening to the public? Or is that a day where you could do this work from home or?
Presently, what I'm going to pursue is a flex situation so that depending on if Christy would like to retain 5/8 schedule, she can do so. She would prefer to work 2 hours over. She could also, Monday through Thursday, she could do that. She sometimes, I believe, works 4 9s and makes up for the any overages on Friday. So that has been working pretty well. The one slight difference is that we'll have not have to have the office open on that Friday.
I don't think any action is necessary on our part. Sounds like a good idea.
Sure. Well, certainly, if you had any major disagreements, it is up for discussion. So,
Well, on Friday, is there gonna be anybody manning the phones, or how is that gonna be handled?
we are hoping to not man the phones and pick that up instead on Monday. And from our historic experiences here, Fridays are quite quiet and leaves a lot of opportunity to do something else. Like catch up on the emails that we received all during the week, that kind of effort. We also have, sorry.
If approved of by the board, can we make sure that we have absolutely crystal clear messaging so that consumers, our customers are very aware, you know, even including a voice message that says, you know, if you call on a Friday, those calls are returned the following Monday or something like that. But I would be really concerned about really clear messaging so people would know when we'll be present, when we will return calls, things like that.
I guess I'm a little concerned that we're gonna totally close the office on Friday. I don't think that's in line with our mandate to serve the public. Go on record as stating that.
Do you have an alternative to that?
Well, I think somebody needs to at least, if the office isn't open, that the phone should be at least transferred to somebody so that they can respond to calls on Friday. And I heard that Christie's working 4-9, so I mean, we could at least have the office open for Friday morning or 4 hours on Friday.
I would normally be here on Friday in office.
So I guess that's what I would propose then.
Just to help me out, a partial day on Friday in the morning.
Well, half day, whether it's, you know, I think that's a little flexible. If it wants to be 9 to 1, 10 to 2, whatever, 8 to 12, you know, but just so that it's clear, so that there is somebody that can respond.
Mhm.
And I think hopefully that'll change once we bring more people on board.
Yeah, part of my hope to move things to Monday through Thursday schedule is that I am aware, you know, that we're quickly making plans to ingest around 3,000 state-based registrations in this office and process those, which is not the thing that really works that well when we have members of the public in. And so that was a little bit of my thinking on trying to get the public to come in and interact with this earlier in the week, so we can try to start addressing those. And additionally, many of the calls that we do get and the walk-in traffic is regarding the pending registrations. So if that helps to explain a little bit of the background of, and immediately on hiring somebody else, we're going to want to really ramp that process up to, that is the thing. If somebody has a pending registration and they want to do a subdivision or transfer or a water right update, if they filed during the 180-day period, all of that is in a bit of a limbo zone right now. So my hope is to try to get a little ground to work directly on that project.
So where are we at? Open Monday through Thursday and then Friday, part day,
Half day.
half day.
Okay. Currently, to message that, we have a door sign and a voicemail option. Is there any other options that we should explore?
You mean in terms of communicating to the public?
Yes.
I would assume once we get our website up, it should be on there too.
Certainly.
That's the only thing I can think of.
We could add that maybe to DNRC's website, the office hours.
Great.
For, I get a clarification on that. What would be the Friday hours? Or do you want to think about that?
Is that-
later?
9 to 1.
That works for Christie.
Okay. So you're gonna add it to the DNRC and CSKT websites?
I'll add the dinner's website.
I haven't checked myself. Last time somebody told me that the CSKT website had a blank page. I don't know if that's a perpetual situation or if it was short term, but it's something that we probably need to check on. Since you mentioned it right here, I thought I'd bring it up.
Any further discussion on this? 3.63, cherish your board members.
Board members, we're thinking we might buy some additional chairs. We have these nice new black chairs. We thought over here on the backside of the tables for board and staff, we might buy some more office style rolling chairs or something that you might suggest. Is that something that the board members would like to have? Do you like chairs with arms on them for your longer meetings?
For me, I'm quite comfortable with what we have now.
I'm fine then too.
Yeah, I'm good too for that.
All
Our new member,
Fine.
however, for staff, the need for better chairs for staff.
We do have a need, and you approved some expenditures. We haven't been able to get to it yet. So luckily, CSKT was kind enough to give us some of their surplus chairs. And we've been getting by.
3.6.4 IT updates.
Chair and board members, that's me as well. One of the first topics I guess I'd like to check in on is the board emails and calendars. So I talked to Roger a little bit. He's a holdout. I believe board member Stokel, have you ready to answer our IT folks and get on the email system? Excellent.
Yeah, I tried calling earlier. Got a voicemail.
Okay, I appreciate that. I can check into that if we need to. And board member Wall McDonald, have you got access to your board email?
I need lots of help. I need help. Someone has to help me navigate this. So I'll have to drop by the office and get some technical assistance.
Yeah. Understood. I'm going to initiate that happening and have our IT folks reach out to you. Is that okay?
That's much appreciated.
Okay, and I do believe I have a temporary Gmail address. Is that a good way for them to get a hold of you?
Yes, sir.
Excellent, thank you.
And Mr. Engineer, the problems I was having with the IT folks was mine. They had a phone number for me that was no longer used. Once we got them the correct phone number for me, they were very, very helpful.
That's good to know. Thank you. And it does actually bring up another small topic. At the end of this meeting, if I could get all your phone numbers, that would be great, because I only have some of them. And I'll reach out to you separately, Board Member McDonald.
Thank you.
Next point, 6.4.2 laptops.
Your laptops are here. We've handed one out so far. You're not obligated to take your laptops if it's not something that's going to work with your business strategy. I understood that maybe some people were interested in having a separate machine because of issues of the public right to know and subpoenas and other types of public requests, and certainly all of the work that we do as board members or board member staff is open to any kind of an information request. I am assured that once we get everybody onto their emails, that we can move you with our IT services into a virtual arrangement where your emails, your files, your calendars pertinent to this job will be stored in this isolated situation. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from taking their laptops, don't take it that way, but that is something, that's a direction that we are headed. I'll also let you know, an importance of that direction is that through our IT management, this will allow access to your information absent you, if there's a need to access that information, because it is all public information, barring a few instances of attorney-client privilege, personnel type actions, or that normative, sensitive information. Which would almost always be redacted from any kind of an information request anyway. This is a way to keep those information requests off of anybody's personal computers or so forth. So wanted to bring that piece of information to everybody's attention in case it was useful. That said, I also have these great laptops out here for you, and if you'd like them, I'm going to have everybody sign them out because that's how we're going to track property. That goes for staff here as well. It's a standard record keeping procedure. Anyway, that's where we're at with laptops. I'll stand for questions.
No, I'm very enthusiastic about having a separate computer.
Excellent. Right on the other side of that wall. Gotcha.
Okay, 3.6.4.3 Kelly Connect.
Excellent, thank you. After I talk about this, I might be able to get out of your hair. And Kelly Connect, we are in a discovery process to help define what we need from their services. They do have a ticketing system, which takes some getting used to, so that when you seek requests, they do so through they create tickets. It's very common in a lot of IT groups. We are also exploring the options for this building to figure out what's going to really be needed, and I'm trying to gather a plan so that we can check that with the landlord's permissions. We are currently going to look at doing some network cable drops and expanding our Wi-Fi system so that there's a centralized hub and then some. They have a fancy, it's like a repeater for Wi-Fi. I can't remember exactly what it is, but so that you get even better Wi-Fi here and in other parts of the building, so that our Wi-Fi system will not get bogged down. It will also allow us to prioritize communications if we need to, such as the laptop that is streaming our Zoom information and that type of thing. So that if we have a larger public meeting where there's a lot of congestion, we'll be able to keep that from hindering the broadcast. That said, if I do plan to send you all a draft of the primary discovery document that sets forth our needs so that you can interact with that, and we'll go from there. If you have some input, I'll be happy to have it.
Thoughts, Teresa?
All sounds good.
Okay, 3.6.5, public outreach.
Well, I guess maybe I do have to talk about that. Apologies, board members, I can't read. I took too many notes here. Chair, board members, at the last meeting, you requested that we get some movement on a press release announcing your hire of my position. I have drafted that and you've got it. I got some comments back. Thank you. I'm happy to take other comments. If we could build on to what Georgia has done, that would be excellent. And Rob McDonald has been gracious enough to offer his expertise on this, and he's here. Maybe we could hear from Rob for a second. Rob, you're muted or maybe locked up.
So, Mr. Engineer, again, I'm delay, but I will get to it immediately. Take a look at it.
Acting Chairman, I am happy to have you be the delay and not me. So that's where we're supposed to be.
I don't think I saw anything, so if you could forward it to me.
Probably back in your email problems. Yes. Okay, we'll get to that. There were some additional items talked about on public outreach. I am actively in the middle of an FAQ, which you had instructed me to draft. Also, that will be available for your consideration. And we are working towards some sort of procedures to host public information meetings for realtors. I know Christy keeps getting asked for additional information. So we're headed that direction.
Since you're still there, Ethan, I got a couple questions. Maybe it seemed like the first call was gonna work on a beta version for us or something. I wonder, have you heard anything about where that is?
Yes. Chair, board members, Taylor Hoyt was kind enough to show up today and give me a quick briefing on where we were at, and we kind of went over some of the most basic components of things. And my understanding is that this way we'll take that back, and then round two will involve some board members. Accurate?
Yes, I would just mention that Cassia from First Call provided a first draft, and then Rob McDonald and I met with her and provided some feedback. She updated it, and then we shared it with Ethan today. So I'm gonna give that to her and get those updates, and then we'll be able to feedback on that.
That's great.
Sounds good, yeah.
Pleased so far with our process of working with her.
Does it look pretty good so far?
We're not on the, it's not very visual yet, it's more in the structure stage.
Oh,
All right, thank you.
Section 4, board member or other updates.
I have no updates.
no, my question was on the website status. So.
Lisa?
No updates.
Okay, moving on. Is there any public comment about anything?
If you would like to leave public comment on Zoom, please raise your hand, and I can make it possible for you to speak. I'm not seeing any public comment.
Okay. Next steps and meetings. I'm seeing it's November 10th, and it'll be in person. And again, we'll be meeting with legal staff at 12:30 before the meeting. Any other items? Oh, yes.
Oh, I was wondering if it might be helpful to push the meeting time back to 3 o'clock on the 10th. So that if you have more to discuss with the legal counsel, you wouldn't have to be rushed.
It's a great idea.
That is a good idea.
So then we could, instead of meeting at 12:30 and pushing you, we could meet at 1 o'clock. That would work better.
I won't have to drive as fast.
Okay, so we're gonna meet with legal staff at 1. And then the meeting will, the board meeting will start at 3. Thank you, Karen.
So Haley, I have a question. Is our meeting with you and John a public meeting?
This meeting would most likely have to be known to the public, yes. We can most likely have some sort of public comment period. It would not have to be as formal as this board meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Haley. Any other items? Oh, yes, sorry.
Mr. Acting Chair, members of the board, I would also like to point out that if we're on the bi-weekly schedule, the meeting after the 10th would be on Thanksgiving. So just something to think about when we're scheduling. the rest of them.
I'm glad someone's looking ahead on the calendar, so there you go.
Any other comments for end the meeting?
I move we adjourn.
I second.
We have a
Haley
motion.
has another comment.
No?
My apologies. I was looking back at some of my notes and was curious if Ethan still would or had some questions regarding the .gov or .org domain.
Board members, Haley? Yeah, we were kind of waiting to see a draft of the memo that discussed the board as a government entity, to use that as a launching pad for applying for the .gov status, which is a formal process that I believe will be made easier if we have that memo in hand.
Okay, that's understandable. I will preface this. So the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency is the agency that governs the .gov domain. There are criteria listed under that agency to provide that .gov domain. While the board would meet the first two criteria, which are existence as an organized entity and governmental character, it might not meet the substantial autonomy characteristic, which would need fiscal autonomy and administrative autonomy. That is most certainly something that we can analyze in the memo as well, though, if that is something that the board would like to see more fleshed out.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to do that. It seems like, given our status as an independent entity, we're administratively would qualify. But fiscally, I guess, that may be where it comes down to, and in that interpretation.
Correct, and that's my concern as well. And under the criteria, it needs both autonomies.
It is, it's just like any agency, though, we have a dedicated budget from a governmental agencies to governmental agencies. So I guess it's, you know, I mean, just kind of like the DNRC, they get their money from the legislature, just like, basically that's what we're doing too. So I don't know, I'm just throwing that out for discussion.
Most certainly, this is definitely something that I can take a more in-depth review of.
Sounds good, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you. Okay.